Well, welcome everyone. We'll go ahead and get our program started today. My name is Colin Hastings. I'm the Executive Director of the Pasco Chamber of Commerce, and welcome you to our November General Membership Luncheon in person again. Yeah, thank you. Yes, that's good. I know it's been kind of off and on, and we've been kind of living this peaks and valleys through this, and so hopefully we can continue meeting in person. It's a great turnout. I can tell a lot of folks are happy to be here, so thank you for showing up today. Our discussion today, our keynote a little bit later, is hopefully a first part in a series of features throughout this next coming year on topics regarding economic growth that we're seeing here in Pasco. And so this is the first of many that we'll hear about. Hopefully we'll have something from Darigold and Bounty and Amazon even as well too. So I think that there's so much going on in Pasco that it's what a better way to really, find out exactly what's going on and getting together and learning for a long period of time as to what these presentations are. So hopefully we'll continue this, and it'll probably continue to go as it seems like Pasco's economic development has definitely been on the front page of the Business Journal, it seems like, for the last few years. So we'll have a lot to discuss about. So with that, actually, let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may have a seat. I'd like to take a moment and introduce elected officials that have joined us here today. First, from Franklin County, Commissioner Rocky Mullen. Rocky, a round of applause. From the Port of Pasco, we have Commissioners Gene Reichman and Jim Klindworth. If you could rise and let's recognize them. Thank you. And from Franklin PUD, Commissioner Stu Nelson. Great. I hope I didn't overlook anybody. Okay. The election's over, so it's nice still having a few elected officials coming in. And we have plenty of Pasco Chamber board members that are in attendance, so if you're here as a Pasco Chamber board member, raise your hand. Thank you for all your work and helping us out. And I know we have some past presidents as well that have snuck in. If you guys can raise your hands and be recognized, yeah, and they like this. They like this part of being a president of the Pasco Chamber because their responsibilities are done. So Kim has the benefit of being her first in-person meeting a little bit later to MC us through. So I know that they're all excited to have that behind them. I want to take a few moments and talk about a little bit of some of the stuff the Pasco Chamber has been doing the last few months. We haven't had an in-person meeting, I think, since August. I think our annual meeting we did over Zoom, which was actually very well attended. That was, I know that a lot of us probably have a little bit of Zoom fatigue, and that's probably why we have a good turnout here today. So it's nice to be back in person, but and we're building our schedule all the way through. But over the last couple months, we've been helping the city of Pasco out with a COVID relief program, a grant program, and that's been taking a lot of our focus. And this, to the credit of the city of Pasco, they acknowledged and saw that there was a need still to help businesses that are struggling because of the COVID pandemic. So earlier this year, a lot of the cities and the counties throughout the nation received ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and I think that there's a lot of credit that goes to the city of Pasco because they wanted to get some of those funds in action as soon as possible. So the city of Pasco is the only city in Washington state that went forward and started a relief program with those funds. And they have, with these ARPA funds, a lot of latitude as to where they can spend these funds, and they don't have to be spent until 2026 as well too. So the forethought of city council to get some money working again for those businesses that need it, I thought was very commendable on their part. As an example, I think that Walla Walla is using those funds a little bit for infrastructure. I think I heard the city of Yakima bought a lot of police cruisers, and I think the county and the city here have other plans with the balance of the money. But I know first and foremost they want to get some money into the needs. So very thankful to work with the city on that. I know we helped a lot of businesses. We're just wrapping up the program, but I think over $1.6 million has been granted out to businesses that needed it, where there's a cap of $30,000 for businesses that qualified. A little bit different of a grant than what we've seen in the past for CARES grant was get the money out right away and get those into the hands of businesses that need it. This was a little bit different, but I think the result is what they wanted. It over exceeded the city's expectations of what they thought when they brought in this program. They had set aside about $500,000 for this grant program. Obviously, the demand was much higher than that. The council had a lot of flexibility. We're doing a lot of estimation to find out how we can come up to a number so that those that qualified for the grant wouldn't be left out. And so you'll be hearing a little bit more about that. I think we're going to make a presentation to the City of Pasco Council in January. They're just wrapping up their budget. They're right in the middle of budget. So I think to give this program a lot of emphasis and discussion, we'll probably be making the presentation in January. But one thing that we're looking forward to as well is our Ag Hall of Fame. We're back online again. So we're excited to have that gala scheduled for January 19th, 2022. Randy Hayden will be the MC once again from the Port of Pasco, does a great job. Yes, and we even bumped it just 24 hours in advance just so that we're not waiting for him and his airplane to land right at 7 o'clock, as it seemed to be the case the last few years. So our MC will be fresh and energized and will lead us through a great program. The Ag Hall of Fame committee met last week. They made their selections. We're not quite ready to announce those selections yet, but I can tell you the committee was thrilled with the upcoming inductees this year. I think you're going to find out that it's going to be a real great program. I think there's going to be a lot of people here at the Red Lion on that evening as well too. And everybody always walks away from that event feeling really good about the stories that they hear and the laughter, sometimes even some tears as well too. As I think Jason Hogue coined a long time ago, he's never been to an event where there was more heart felt in the room, and that's totally the case. I'm giving myself chills just thinking about how good it's going to be. Maybe because we weren't able to have it last year, but this coming year we're excited to have that again. So mark your calendars. You'll start hearing a lot of communications about the Ag Hall of Fame coming up, and we have a little bit of work ahead of us, but it's going to be a good time. Next, I'd like to shift before I have Kim take us through the rest of the program. We have some new members I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce to the Pasco Chamber. So I'm going to invite the new members up. We're going to have a plaque over here, in which case we'll present that. But as I call you up, if you don't mind coming up and then giving a few introduction of yourself and a little bit as to what your company does. So let's see, first on my list, thank God it's a guy I already talked to. Gary, if you want to come up from PixelSoft, come up, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about your business.
Wow, it's tall up here. I'm Gary Hansen with PixelSoft Films, and we've been around Tri-Cities since '97, believe it or not. We have staff about 8 individuals. We're all working from home except for our immediate production staff. Trying to pass through a 100 gig file real time is kind of tough still, for the video anyway. So we've been doing from graphic design, web, a lot of video, programming. That's I'm usually behind the camera and directing, so I said we should have brought the pretty one, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Why don't you go ahead and stay right there. Our next new member is Dee Pridemore with Vivid Imaginations and Tri-Cities Family Expo. Hi, Dee, come on up.
Thank you, Colin. Hello. Hi. Okay, so I'm Dee, and I'm representing two businesses. My first and passion is Vivid Imaginations Professional Face Painting, where I am the creative director to 5 employees, and we are looking to actually change the industry, especially in the state of Washington, with the state-regulated required exam to practice the trade. After all, it is working with skin. So, but we have served Tri-Cities for a very long time, and my second business is actually, I'm the producer for the Tri-City Family Expo, and that is an event that is held annually at the Hapo Center. And if you're like me and you love helping women and children in our community, this is a great event to support. A portion of ticket sales will be going to 2 nonprofits, Royal Family Kids, specifically to help local foster children in our area, and Seroptimus for the empowerment education of women. And that's it, I think. So, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dee. Hey, we'll jump over here. We'll get your plaque here in a second. We still have a couple more to go. Edison Valerio, if you want to come up, State Farm, just joined this past couple days ago. So let's give him a warm welcome.
Yeah, so I just submitted my application, and Colin, he's like, okay, we're going to get it approved in a couple days. I was like, you sure? Yes. In a couple of days he did. 48 hours. Boom. Just approved. Thank you. My name is Edison Valerio, and a lot of you know that this is my hometown. I've been here for a long time, even though I still look like I'm 20, but I'm not. I've been managing banks for the last 15 years, Bank of America, U.S. Bank, and this is my hometown. I have a daughter graduated from Pasco High, and she's 19. And so, I always wanted to start my business. I want to take care of my own future so that I don't have to deal with any more politics and BS or corporate American. So I said, God illustrated me to do this. And the reason why do we do what we do? I go to Pasco High and I talk to the young kids. As a Latino, you're probably going to look at me. You're like, wow, you have an accent, but you are black. Well, I am a Caribbean, and so we are Afro-Caribbean. So I have the opportunity to go and be a role model for the kids, the youth, because I'm coming from out of adversity. As a kid that came from the Bronx, New York, and poor and single mom, but I did it. I went to college. I got a master. I opened the business. So as a State Farm, we are about to manage the risk of everyday life. So when the unexpected happen, you can be protected. So that's how we make a difference. So I would like to continue making a difference in my community in Tri-Cities by protecting the risk, being a role model for the youth, and once again, be a great citizen of Pasco by sharing and being part of the community. So thank you for having us, and thanks.
Thanks, Edison. Go ahead and have us stand right there. The reason why I did it so fast is because I knew if I wait another month, it'd be a picture of Edison on that slide of the new members. So I don't know if Kevin Santilli with Avancer is here. I hadn't met him yet, and I didn't see him come in. So, he gets a pass this month. Their business is new to the area as well, too. I knew they do a lot of rail support. So with that, let's give them all a big welcome. Pass them their check. She's our president, so she's been a member for a while, but she gets to be in.
Can we scoot you guys over a couple steps?
Just go.
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Better back right now.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you. So to take us through the rest of the program, Kim Fall, as I said, be nice. It's her first time taking us through the program, but she's our president for 2021-22 from Conover/Hub Insurance, Kim Fall. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to see all of you. And of course, today's the day that I had no power at home, so somebody needs to answer that for me. No power and no internet. How's that for a day? So, but I'm here, and I'm glad you are all here. And it's just so nice to be in person. And that's what's so great about the Pasco Chamber is we're also friends. So it's good to see friends and faces. So we're really glad you're here. Now I get the absolute pleasure of introducing Mr. James Sexton with JMS Development. I'll give you a bit of a history. He is the owner and president of JMS Construction and JMS Development LLC. Mr. James Sexton has always worked with his hands, from working in a siding roofing company in 1988 at the age of 19. He then moved into a golf club landscaping superintendent, remodeling small homes, and being a key leader in the construction of new homes and commercial buildings. In 2002, he started his own home inspection business, and for 17-plus years, he performed over 11,000 inspections for homes and commercial buildings. What's that? In 2012, he decided to take the leap into the construction world by creating his own company, JMS Construction, Inc. And I don't know about you, but I am super excited about what he's going to talk to us about. I know I've heard hints and pieces and parts of it, and so you're up, my friend.
Again, hello, I'm James Sexton, JMS Construction and Development, and we're going to talk about a fun little project down here at the Port of Pasco that we're getting ready to launch off here. It is a community for walking, living, pretty much fun, food, and the whole shebit. Hold on. No. It could be your head. Yeah. There we go. So this is a 50-plus acre project. It will have, well, let's just start at the one side and keep going. This is the small home section. There's about 64 small homes between 900 and 1,400 square feet. They are detached housing. It's like a condo but detached, right? There is a space between it. They're a new modern type designs, right? Small living. We're trying to get the apartment people out of apartments and into living, right? So try to keep the cost down, try to do all that kind of stuff and move those people from their first time buyers and retirees and fun stuff like that. So they're 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units, different floor plan designs. This is that 3-story white one you guys see.
What are the square footages for?
Between 900 and 1,400 square feet. Yeah, so not very big, but, comfortable. Any other questions on that section?
Price points?
We're going to try to keep it right around that 250 range in those areas. So we want to make it affordable, but, not cheap.
Are they going to be done, or are they going to be able to pick parts of the construction process?
There will be some upgradable capabilities in some of it, but most of it we're going with the higher end stuff. You know me, kind of weird. I'd rather give it away than.
Question, I saw one car garage.
Yes.
Is it the standard, or is it?
Yeah, they're all one-car garages. Yes. We are working on an option right now for a 2-car garage, but it's actually an elevator. So you go in and you go down, and then you take your next car in. So if that all pans out, then that will be our upgrade option for a 2-car. It's about saving space, you know, where the earth is only so big and we only have 50 acres. So the next section of this over here is a commercial on the bottom and then 2 levels of condo type spaces. There is a huge need, and I think in the Tri-Cities, for that kind of community where it's a work and then live type of event. So we do have these floor plans already drawn out for us. This is the 1-bedroom floor plan. That's right around that 875 square feet, 1 bedroom. It does have a small office space in it. The 2-bedroom is a little bit bigger than that, right around that 950 to 1,100. Depends on what spot inside of the building it's at. So they're compact, but they're kind of fun. And this is the 3-bedroom portion of it. So all of these will have access to a detached garage on these 2 buildings here. So you'll get a 2-car garage that's detached off of it. It's kind of like a in between of an apartment complex and owning a house, right? So you do have detached on that one. The next 3 buildings are 8 stories, the commercial on the bottom with underground parking and rooftop living. So this is kind of the designs that we're looking at for this building. The final design will be color choiced and picked, but we are going to try to utilize more glass in it because of the riverfront. But we will have a commercial element on the bottom floor for, you know, restaurants, for shoe stores, all those kinds of little fun things that bars. And on the rooftop of all these 3 buildings is shared rooftop living. So we'll have gas fireplaces, areas to hang out, little garden areas, community bench areas with fireplaces and stuff like this. So I don't believe that we'll have just the random barbecuers sitting on the thing. We'll probably put them inside of actually permanent sections, but you get the idea. The L building here is actually a U building. I cannot get that through to the developer or the drawer of that, but this is a 55 and older rental community. We're gonna set it up as a rental process instead of a purchase process. It's for 55 and older, and it's all inclusive inside of it where you'll have commercial on the bottom, and then we have rec room areas and stuff like that and all that. That is the shiny thing on the side of it is actually a solar panel. We're gonna use a lot of solar in this project. Over here, try to be self-contained if possible. They're all 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom units with river views. There's a rec room for fun, health, relaxation areas, garden areas, and a rooftop putting course. Kind of fun. Any questions on that? Anybody over 55? In the next section over, we have the same thing. All these buildings are commercial on the bottom, so we're doing commercial living, right? So it's big city thought process. Second floor is a studio or office space, and then 2 floors of living space. Underground parking. There's 5 of these buildings. We're actually going to elevator the middle building and catwalk to the other 2 buildings. So you will have capabilities of elevators going up and down, and then walkways going back in between them. And that will give us area in between those buildings for outside fun areas. And all 3 of those buildings, 5 of those buildings have rooftop living, shared living also. In between those buildings, we want to set it up where it's community areas, right? So we want to be able to have events outside and let people go to the restaurants and hang out and all that stuff after COVID's over, I guess. But all of the sidewalks, I know, all of the sidewalks over here, we have made a decision to expand the sidewalk to a 15-foot or larger. We're not quite 100% sure, even though we'll lose some of the building sizes. So the restaurants and the venues around outside of there can use part of that sidewalk to get that interaction, right? So it's important to me that there is areas to walk and there's areas to do stuff and park and everything else, but there's also areas for restaurants and storefronts to be utilized. The Riverfront Condos. I get asked about these probably like 755 times an hour. Again, these buildings here are 7-story buildings. The first floor is commercial space. The floors between 2 and 6 are 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom townhomes. And then the top floor is a 2,000 square foot private roof condo. And that's kind of the concept of that building. We've had a couple people draw other concepts, but this is kind of the one I've liked the most. This is one of the ones that one of the drawers sent to me that thought that it would kind of match what we were using, but it will kind of have a different feel to it than this. This is the floor plan of that. It's the first time anybody's seen this. But it's a pretty good sized unit. And then the top floor will lose a bedroom on this floor. We'll have a bigger bedroom, and then there's a staircase that goes up to the upper floor. The upper floor will have 500 square feet of enclosed, 500 square feet of covered, and 500 square feet of open airspace as a private rooftop living. Kind of like this. So it's very fun. There is almost 9 acres of underground parking going in here. So everybody who lives here in the tall buildings will have 2 spots underneath the ground. And then all the people who are visiting here will be parking above the ground. So it's kind of crazy. We have these 2 little L-shaped buildings here. First floor is commercial, and we have a second floor that can be used as a rental, or as if somebody doesn't want it, then we'll go ahead and sell it to somebody else. And then we have the upper floor as a townhome or condo. I guess it would be a condo, is what they would call these. And they're a loft style, like a New York loft style type deal. So they're about 1,100 square feet. You have the first floor, and there's a bedroom on there. Then you have a bedroom or 2 bedrooms upstairs. And it's all glass fronts. So it's very sun type, if you like that. I'm not one that does. I work outside, so I try to hide from the sun. We do have an area for a community store. It's about 13,000 square feet for a community store. And then the other areas out here is a hotel, a splash park, and community park point. And what we're trying to get out of that is from the hotel, have access to the market and to the splash park. The hotel is about 150 rooms, where the designer is designing it with the large scape on the first 2 floors, so we can have space like this, plus a pool area, sitting areas, conference areas, that type of stuff on the water. Splash park next to it. It will be open until 10, 11 o'clock at night. We're going to try to keep it open as much as possible. It is for the public. no lifeguard type fountain park. We'll get some music going on there. On that waterfront there, we're trying to do a large walkways through there. We're also going to do a bicycle path and our jogging path on a extra wide path there and designate, for it. We're going to go ahead and concrete it, and then we're going to have a rubberized area for running for the people who like to run. This path on that side over there is the Sacagawea Trail that goes through there, and it does connect kind of to the whole bike path. One of our concepts that we're going to try to do is make that connection. There's been talks about 2 different ways, but we'll fix the sidewalk gap that's missing. It's about, 50 feet, 70 feet? I think it's about missing, somewhere around there. About 70 feet of sidewalk missing in that area that we'll get to go. But on those waterfront areas, we're trying to get the path and the restaurants all together to make that communication back and forth where people can feel like they're a part of something in eating or outside of eating. And we want to make sure that we have all kinds of things for people to do out here. The Osprey Point Marketplace. Boy, that's our phase 1. It's been a push. Now I've been working on this project for almost 2 years. And we finally got to the point where we were about ready to turn in for permits and have the property relined for the actual breakdown of this. It is a 76,000 square foot, just so anybody understands, that's about 2 acres, indoor market with outdoor facilities. It is on one side of it 3 stories. The main hall of it is, all the side of it does have a second story that we're allowing restaurants to utilize as a second story for, like if they want to put a bar in or if they just want more seating or that type of stuff. We're not going to let everybody utilize it, but more for seating areas. The parking lot in here is a painted parking lot, and we're actually going to pre-wire it and plumb it for food trucks so we can have food truck venues that go on and stuff like that. So during events that we can do stuff. On the outside of the market, we have a overhang there that's about 17 feet. So everybody who is a restaurant owner will have the inside and the outside section of that. And then so that's basically the floor plan. So the first floor of that is all for vendors. Inside and outside, we have different tables from the regular table size, 6 foot, 12 foot, 10 foot, 25 by 25, 20 by 12. So we're trying to meet for every size of vendor that will need to go in there. And we're looking for restaurants and all that stuff. The second floor is a banquet room. It's 150 feet by 50 feet. And then the top floor is office space with community conference rooms. So, anybody know? This is the Pibus Market. This is in Wenatchee. It is currently one of the largest indoor markets that we have. We're kind of following its footsteps after it. It's a really fun place to go. It's a fun place to be, and this is kind of our concept. Ours is 2 stories and a little bit bigger than that. The things that we would like to go in there is fresh flowers, soaps, oils, jewelry shops, people who like to do that, butchers, meat markets, cheese. That's a lot of cheese. Wine facilities, we do have a wine facility that's going to go in there that has 104 bottles of wine that's on self-tapping from 17 wineries. So that'll be a nice wine tasting area. We will have it set up where the liquor license for the building, so you can go to the wine facility and order food from anywhere, or you can go to a food facility and order alcohol from anywhere. So it'll be delivered, and it's all in one bill. The the cash registers are going to be set up for them to go back and forth to restaurant to bar, restaurant to bar. So it makes it very convenient for everybody to coexist inside of here. But we're hoping to have, we have about 120 spots in there, and right now I think we're at 69, right? 60, somewhere in the 60s, upper 60s of people who have gave us our LOIs. And then we have meetings all this week with a bunch of the other ones. The outside areas will be allowed to set up for, we do have a covered area, but we're going to allow that to go outside of that covered area. We're going to end up going about 25 feet total of outside space for the restaurants and stuff like that, so they can do the indoor and outdoor stuff. And then the building on the end here is an event center. It's 80,000 square feet, 2-story, purposely built facility designed for entertainment. So the glass sections you see are 150 foot by 150 foot banquet areas. There's 4 of those. There's an underground kitchen in this to feed everybody. And then the seating capability of this is just a little bit over 6,000 people. It is designed for traveling theaters. The largest traveling play that we have right now is Phantom of the Opera. They take the largest stage, and we actually, my friends that do this have designed this stage for that venue. So our goal is to try bring in, you know, the real stuff, you know, the real plays, the traveling phantoms, the cats, stuff like that, but also indoor concerts and everything else. I mean, 6,000 people is not a huge venue for concerts, but an indoor concert would be pretty good. We've designed it to where the first floor of that, all the chairs could be removed from that for indoor venues for like dances, weddings, parties, and things like that, so we can utilize that as other things. Or if we wanted to put in a small boat show or a Christmas show or whatever, the flooring space there is 300 feet by 150 feet, so it's quite a bit good size deal. And then the amphitheater. This is what a lot of my kids' friends are very excited about. It's just right at 8 acres as an outdoor amphitheater. To put that in perspective, the gorge is 6. Let that digest in there. It is designed for outdoor venues. We are going to have it where it's not only for plays, it's not only for concerts and stuff like that and traveling, but we want the local people to be able to use it too. So if there's a local band who wants to go on there during the weekend or weekend, there's not things on there, we're going to make it available for them. That's the whole point of having this. You know, are they going to fill up this? Probably not. Are they going to fill up all the seats? Hey, cool, right? But we will work with anybody and everybody who wants to go into this. Just so you realize how big that is, there's a little dot down there on that stage on the left-hand side there. That dot is a 6-foot person. The screens are 60 feet by 60 feet screens sitting on there. So it's a pretty big facility. It's that's a good question. So the plan is to utilize all the parking places inside the Tri-Cities. When we sell tickets for certain places, there will be a parking designation, so the fairgrounds or the CBC school, and then we will bus everybody from there. We'll have VIB tickets that we'll be able to park locally, right, and they'll cost a lot more, but most of it will be transferred from one spot to another spot. So if you're coming to a concert and you're staying here, right, then this facility will have so many tickets that they can sell for what they can transport or what we can get buses to transport to them, right? And then that facility will take them and have a time pickup, time drop off, and everything else. So the plan is to try to utilize all the hotels in the Tri-Cities, because in all reality, an 8-acre deal in sitting is about 22,000 people. So I don't think that we'll ever try to get that many people in there. We would like to stay around that 17,000. You know, that's a lot of people in my book, but I think that's something that Tri-Cities, with all the hotels that we have, can handle. And we have copied it after a couple different facilities. This is during COVID, if we were working right now, this is, and then after COVID. So, yeah, it's a lot of different people, a lot of different stuff. We've already been reached out. I used to do a concert facility company. We'd set up stages and stuff like that for concerts. That promoter is called the Coffee House. As soon as they saw us doing this online, Facebook, they've already called me and asked me what the first concert's going to be. I'm like, well, let me get the building built. They're like, no, we can do it in the grass right now. There's no grass. So at this place here, there's over 200,000 square feet of commercial space. There's 68 standing homes. There's 850 condos, 100 units for 55 and older, 80,000 square feet. Concert facility, 76,000 square foot indoor market, 150 room hotel. We are enhancing the public waterways for all through here. Now, we're going to leave a lot of this natural. We will have designated areas that will go down to the water and stuff like that, and there will be natural scape in most of this because this is one of the untouched areas still. But we will try to get as much people to there as we can. We will do a public splash park, and there's a little over 900 job opportunities on this site. So it's a pretty fun, big project. Within a few distances from here, these are all the things that will be coming to Pasco that I know about. I don't even know if that's all of them, but within a 4.5 mile project, we have everything. So this is all the people who will be coming and talking to you guys and me and everybody else in the next year. Fun, huh? Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
From start to finish, what's the time frame? Now, I know we have
If I could dig,
supply chain issues and all of that, but
the supply chain issues are pretty important, but I ordered the building last year. It's ready, it's sitting on the ground for the market. We're just waiting for that whole entire engineers and all that stuff for the drawing process of it. We had this I think we went through 17, 18 redraws on this, right? Is that about right? Randy? Yes, a lot. But this is the final draft of it. This is the one that we like. But one of the guys that was doing it was from another city that didn't realize what our parking capabilities and stuff and codes were. So it didn't meet the city of Pasco's code. So we had to redraw all the parking, made some roads a little bit wider, some roads a little bit narrower, and get it all in there. The electrical engineers for PUD tell me that they're supposed to have our stuff to us this week. That's our last thing to turn in for permits. So we'll approach the city hopefully at the end of this week, if not the beginning of next week, and I'm ready to start digging ground. From that point, I believe that if it's a perfect world, we're done in 7 years. Realistically, 10.
Complete the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
In the development of your plan, of your overall plan, have you been working with an economic development consultant on phasing and absorption rates and stuff like that?
Yes.
And
We have 2 engineers that are doing that.
economic consultant development?
They're economic consultant engineers.
In terms of absorption rates and how much is going to go and when and how long it's going to take to build this thing out?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. They're firms that do that. Like the firm who designed this first one, I know, I'm drawing a blank. Can you hit that start over? It's on the first page. I'll find it. But anyways, yes. YVA, yes. YVA consultant firm is one of the companies that do that. They gave us a breakdown of how fast, how quick, and then we have a couple real estate brokers that we've been talking to too about how fast the buildings will sell, how fast we think they'll fill, that type of stuff. So Yeah.
Who would we turn LOIs to? Who would we turn LOIs to?
That would be directly to our office, to JMS at. Yeah, we have a JMS tricities.com, and that's where you would turn an LOI into.
Okay. And then the financial structure, how much of this are you gonna own and how much is actually for sale?
We're gonna keep the 55 and older community as a rental, and we're keeping all the commercial space. All the residential space besides that, we're gonna sell. Yes, sir?
What's your priority? You said the marketplace is number one. What would be two or three?
The phase one of that will be the marketplace, and shortly there or equal to there, we'll try to do the first 33 of the small homes. Soon as we're done or half done with the first 33 of the small homes, the 5 small buildings sitting next to the port office, it will be our next push. We have some people interested in those office and spaces. And then the small buildings next to the marketplace will go directly after that. As soon as we get those filled in, then we'll start one of the large buildings on the river and one of the large buildings offside of the river. Is the current plan. Yes, sir.
Yes, I didn't ask you this question when I saw this plan, but any accessibility that you can go to any of those facilities through the water? So I don't see any dock or any,
So
perhaps that could be more to like a gym for the port.
actually, with the hotel, there is a revision in the codes that will allow us to put a dock with the hotel, right? But until the powers to be tell me that, yes, I can put it there, I'm not drawing it on the paper. Right? Because they can always yank that away. But there is provisions for the hotel, and we plan on putting a dock there that's not necessarily for boats and stuff like that, but more towards the paddle boards, kayaks, stuff like that. We want low water docking and stuff. Doing that, we're going to have to protect that, and there will be an outer dock of that that will allow a certain amount of boats, or like the paddle boat to tie up to, is what we've been talking to them about.
How far is it from Columbia Marine Center? How far?
To the
To this, to the marina?
to the marina.
Yeah.
See that little pond on the side of the picture there? That is the marina.
Okay.
So within feet. Any other questions? Really
With
close
the
up. Yes, sir.
underground parking, is there issues with groundwater?
There's not. We went out and dug 17 test holes at 20 feet deep, right? And never ran into water. And we even did one at the path, right down there where the sign says Osprey Point Park. That's currently where the path is. And we left it open overnight and there was no water in it. So I was actually kind of shocked because I thought it would be closer to that 12 to 14 feet. And that's still enough for our underground parking.
Okay.
So, yeah, up towards where the old port building is right now, we actually drilled and it was 42 feet before we hit water, right? They had drilled it with a clay-based material and it held water at 25 feet. We filled it full of water and it held it at 25 feet. And that's still below what we need to do. So that's almost 2 stories of parking. Mwaha. No.
Are you working with the Army Corps of Engineers on this project as well?
No, the Army Corps of Engineers have released the jurisdiction to the Port of Pasco, so we don't have that problem. Right? Ports, yeah, partly, yeah, sure. The port has no jurisdiction on this part. They do have on one little section of it up there by the entryway off of Oregon Street that's like a 18 by 18 area that doesn't affect what we're doing. There's a building that used to be the guardhouse sitting there. We're going to approach them about trying to remodel that and use that. We'll see what they say. So this has been a project that's been, like I said, going on for 2 years, and I've had a lot of help from the port and the port board and everything else to get us to where we're at. Thank goodness, it's been a long battle, but we're coming to the end of it, so, or the beginning of it. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there gonna be like a particular theme structures of birds or animals, or is it fruits, or I don't know?
The landscape engineer that we have hired out of Spokane right now is trying to come up with some designs like that to see if I'm going to like them or not. Right? So I'm kind of a control freak. For people who know me will get that. But we would like to have some art areas out there, stuff like that. And when we can figure out what type that is, then we'll run with that. The buildings themselves, we're trying to make sure that the architectural point of that all kinds of flows and meets together and not push from each other. But that modern look is what we're looking for, but still have that industrial feel because we are close to an industrial park, and that's kind of what we want. And that's why we've staged it where the concert and then the next building and then the hotel, and then it's just getting softer as we're going towards the city, right? So I think our biggest hurdle will be for that is where do we put all that stuff, right? Is it art that are on buildings, or is it areas that we have art and all that kind of things? Now, inside the marketplace, we're designating an area for an art gallery, right? So the artists of the Tri-Cities and stuff can go there and get little spaces instead of having to rent a big facility. They can just rent a little space and sell off their stuff like that. Yes, ma'am.
So how audible will the concert venue be to the tiny houses?
How loud will it be?
Yeah.
I am hoping not that loud, right? We have faced the concert facility the opposite direction for two reasons. One, wind, right? And two, sound, right? So we're hoping that the sound will go down, and we didn't point it directly across the river, so it's not heading towards Kennewick. It is actually following the river bend towards Boise Cascade. It is in a commercial area already, a high noise area, so we're hoping that that will be there. But I would imagine at some point, depending on what concert's there, it might be loud. But it'd be up to us to make sure that we keep those time limits to a reasonable time. We don't want a concert going on at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. We want to kind of control that.
Except for the seniors, they can just turn down their hearing.
Right. But because of the way, one of the things though is because of the way the construction is of the buildings that we're moving together, fire barriers themselves is a sound barrier, right? So the exterior walls of these aren't like traditional construction, right? So it's not going to be just a 2x6 wall with foam in the middle or with insulation in the middle. It's a 2x6 wall with that in the middle and then plywood on the outside, and then it has to have a 1-inch thick elevator shaft on the outside of it for fire, right? And then the stucco, foam and stucco. So that exterior wall is almost 3 inches thick. So sound is pretty good. We just finished some townhomes in Kennewick that have little children on one side and dogs on the other, and they can't hear each other. So, and that's using that same technology. Yes, sir.
So with that area being Portland and it's transitioning, and so the port provides security down there, what do you have for like the future in terms of?
The security will be ran by the homeowners association for this facility when it's done. We'll actually have on-site security for this. As we're purchasing or leasing in different areas of this, the port's responsibilities will start going away from this section, right, where they won't be involved in that as much. There is a little section of the waterway down there that is the waterfront area that's will stay the ports, but I will probably have our landscaping even take over that. So that way it's not they don't have to drive there just to mow that little bitty of a grass while we're already there mowing. So.
Question, would there be some type of internal, I don't want to say transit, but like a little choo-choo train that will take people from one?
I've been asked that a couple times. It's a half-mile long. We are trying to make it a walking community where it's there, but that's a great idea. I haven't really pursued that yet or thought about that. We are talking about doing water taxis down the river all the way up to Richland to the farthest hotel up there for this function. We've looked at 7 different types of water taxis, and we've found one that I really like. So that might be a process that way, but I have not thought about doing anything internally. One of the other things we thought about doing is those little, the little bikes and stuff like that. You know, they're all over the place, and you just come up there and scan your card, and it costs you $1, and you can get on it and ride it to wherever you're at, and you leave it, right? And then you get to the next one. That's pretty popular in some big cities and stuff. But overall, it's from one side to another side is still only a half a mile long. So most people might walk, but it might be fun to have that, you know, like the downtown park thing with the train, the Kennewick Park. Anybody else?
Disney's upgrading the monorail.
Right?
Would a business like a circus or an amusement park be able to set up in the event garden or center?
In the event center, it's going to be sloped for concerts, so it probably would be very hard for that.
Or the grassy area?
Yeah, that would probably be, I'd probably have to say no on that. I mean, a small thing, like a kids type thing on the flat ground area, possibly. But the way that it's going to slope so everybody can have a fair vision of the concert that's going on, the event that's going on, that probably wouldn't be. Yes, sir.
Is there talk at all about linking this up with the big investment that's happening in downtown as well? So the civic projects and this project linking them somehow? Like,
We have been in very good communication with the Pasco downtown people to try to make sure that there is some sort of walking path or some sort of way to get to there, or multiple ways to get to there. And the Pasco right now is doing their whole revamping of the Downtown Pasco Association. They've had architects coming in, and I met with them 3 times so far, talking about how to get those guys, you know, how do we interlink this through this 3 or 4 roads. Any other questions? Well, thank you.